Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing a very special makeover with you all. This beautiful old buffet is from my husband's family farm. It was used as a liquor cabinet while he was growing up, and it's now been gifted to us to revamp and enjoy with our family. This gorgeous solid wood piece has been sitting in a dusty shed for a few years now, and we're going to give it a chalk paint makeover in a distressed style to suit its age with a modern touch to suit our home. This is over 3 hours of footage condensed down into a short overview of the makeover process. Now the great thing about chalk paint is that you generally don't even need to sand items before painting, but as I mentioned, this had been sitting around in a shed. The top had car oil stains on it and it was in the roughest shape compared to the rest of the piece. So I did go ahead and give the top a good sand and the body a decent clean. I was able to pop off the decorative wooden accents with the original tacks still intact. The hardware I'd been hoping to remove to refinish, but we just weren't going to be able to get them off without damage, so this added a few extra next steps. Lovingly taped around the intricate shapes in the hopes that that would be enough to spray paint around, but I ended up having to fully paper off the body of the unit from the handles in order to get a good spray paint finish on them. I'm using my favourite gold by Rustoleum. In fact, all the paint I use in this project is Rustoleum, and those decorative pieces also received a couple of coats of gold. Next, I taped off all the insides of the cabinet and with a very teeny tiny art brush went in and around all those intricate edges with my coastal blue chalk paint. Then, using a large flat bristled brush, I applied my first coat of paint to the whole body. This first overview is after 2 coats. I love how the grain keeps poking through and naturally giving it that distressed look before I start on my 3rd coat, simply to give the depth of the colour that I was wanting. This is after 3 coats now, which I'm super happy with. The top, however, was just not covering those oil stains that I naively thought that it might. So I made the decision to come in with a roller and some oil-based stain blocker just on the top of the buffet. After drying, I then came in with a sandpaper to give it a little distressing so the chalk paint layers on top didn't look smooth and opaque compared to the body of the unit. I came in with 2 further coats of chalk paint over top of that stain blotch layer. It was at this point that I held the decorative pieces up to the unit and wasn't liking the full gold look. It was giving more of a French provincial look, and I'm after more of a coastal Hamptons look, so I went ahead and chalk painted 2 layers of the blue straight over the chalk paint. Final touches for the buffet was the clear top coat from the same Rustoleum Chalk Paint range. I applied this with that same bristle brush, also to keep that distressed feel. Now it applies quite chalky, especially if you reapply over an area that has already started to dry, and it was really worrying at first. I felt like I'd come this far and ruined the whole thing, but thankfully it all dries clear, it dries matte, and the areas I was worried about all came out just fine. While that was drying, I decided to distress the decorative pieces so the gold and some of the original grain would show through the blue, and top coated those also. Then one of the best bits towards the end of a project is always pulling the tape off. It's so satisfying. This was the first time I had used frog tape. We went away on holiday in between starting and finishing this piece, so the tape was there for a good couple of weeks, and it's fantastic. Definitely worth paying a little bit extra for, worth the hype. I placed those decorative pieces back on using the original tacks and holes with a little extra wood glue to secure them for another 100 years. And that was the unit itself done and complete, but that top still didn't come out how I had hoped. Even with the stain block layer, car oil is just too ingrained in the wood for anything to cover it. So I had a piece of pine handy plank cut to the exact size that I needed, sanded it back finely, and I lime washed it with around 5 layers of lime wash to achieve this completed look. We're stoked with how this piece turned out, and that our family can now give it new life for many more years. Please stick around and subscribe if you're interested in watching more DIY projects like this. There are plenty more to come, and I'll see you next video.